Welcome back, football friends. How the hell are you doing? Hope you're having a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, whatever time it is for you. We are continuing on to episode 3, Once in a Lifetime Argentina, Now or Never. I feel like I am watching a TV series. I am locked in. I am loving this. And I feel like engaged, involved, like I have something riding on this. This is actually really cool. I had an idea thinking about doing this type of series. I'm really enjoying maybe doing a live stream one day where we will watch multiple episodes of something from Copa90 because they are amazing creators and I am really loving their content. I will put the video or their channel in the description down below. Make sure you check them out. If you have never checked your stuff out, you probably have. Yeah, let's be honest, you probably have. But these guys are amazing. I am loving them. All right, guys, let's get into this and let's get into episode 3, Now or Never.
I always say that football's, I've seen everything.
All right, I had that on the wrong. I'm sorry. I promise I've done this before.
I always say that football's, I've seen everything in football. I don't think I've ever seen it 10 minutes like that.
That is so cool. They got a large screen where everybody can watch it.
I've been
I wonder where that's
traversing
at.
Europe, documenting the tales of football clubs and their fan bases who've been on the verge of winning something for the first time in a long time, if not ever. From northern Turkey to southern Spain, from southwest Germany to the Basque Country, I've been on a mission to show how important it is that the game has a variety of winners so that we learn about new places, new people, new cultures, and most importantly,
Damn, there's that
new
dude with that awesome
stories.
haircut.
Then came the 2022 FIFA World Cup.
I'm gonna give you one of those.
Exact once-in-a-lifetime story I had to tell. So as the world's media descended on Qatar to be at the tournament, Copa90 and I decided to fly 8,000 miles in the opposite direction to tell the ultimate story of a football fan base on the brink of ending the 36-year wait for
called
the
Messi.
biggest prize in sport. But what we found was a story that transcended football, a story that reached into the very soul of a nation that laid itself bare over 2 fateful weeks. A story.
Oh my God, dude, he is so good at telling stories and building up anticipation. But these guys, like this dude here, is so cool. Some of these people in here that he's talking to are just awesome as hell to watch. This is really good.
That reached into the very soul of a nation that laid itself bare over 2 fateful weeks. A story that etched a struggle for identity in a search for glory that began over 2 centuries ago. A story about Lionel Messi, Argentina, and 45 million people yearning to reclaim their place in history. This is the all-angle, on the ground, as it happened, ultimate account of perhaps the greatest football story of our time.
Oh man, they're just all out in the street.
This is once in a lifetime.
You know what? We never did get the story that he started off the last episode talking about someone fighting and then coming back with a gun. I mean, are they going to let us know in this one? I'm curious what the heck happened there because they never answered that story.
Yo, Ellie, what's going on, man? Where are we at?
We are in Argentina, a very hot, very sweaty Argentina, during their first ever summertime World Cup, and I'm excited. There's only a couple of hours before the big quarterfinal against the Dutch. We don't actually have too much to do before we have to be in what is expected to be a sold-out fan zone.
Oh, a fan zone.
First things first, we need to find my fixer Val, and then just before the fan zone, I'm going to catch up with a journalist friend of mine, Santi, who I think is the perfect person to give me an understanding of how big of a deal what's going on here is, and just what we're in store for.
Oh, it's his journalist friend. We've been listening to him for a while. Oh, that is so cool.
First and foremost, we could have picked any country to go to cover this World Cup. We put all our budget on this one. Why do you think we did it, and was it a good idea?
Yeah, it was a good idea.
It was a great idea for you to come to Argentina. Because, I mean, these people are longing for something to be cheerful about. This World Cup is like a boiling point for this national team. Because the World Cup is an obsession for Argentines. Already 36 years. That's how long we've been waiting for someone, anyone, to make us lift that trophy again.
Oh, Argentina, Molina.
It is now or never. It is right at this moment. To finally get the chance to win the trophy.
What is that?
1-0 up at the break, and with a foot in the semi-final, the emotional climate of the fan zone was a collective, confident ecstasy, which was an even more notable achievement given the actual climate.
Man, it must be
You
hot
see,
as
with
hell.
this World Cup being the first ever to be played in December, it meant that Argentina were experiencing their first international tournament.
Oh my God, so December is hot as hell. Okay, so December is summer there. But I want to check something else out. Look like he had a Michael Jordan tattoo on his neck.
More notable achievement given the actual climate. You see, with this World Cup being the first ever to be played in December, it meant that Argentina
That's a Jordan tattoo, isn't it? Isn't that a Jordan? Michael Jordan?
were experiencing
Am I wrong?
in their first international tournament in their summer. And whilst that had helped create atmospheres and crowds never quite seen during winter tournaments, it also brought its own obstacles. Yet, as the second half approached and the temperature went up to another level, it was clear that
Damn.
no one was going anywhere.
That could be dangerous though, man. You gotta stay hydrated. Especially with all those people
In
around.
fact, as the temperature went up, so did the atmosphere.
Oh.
As Argentinians young and old defied their health to show their support. And then, deep into the second half, their efforts were rewarded.
Oh, let's go. On penalty, huh?
And so with only 15 minutes left, Argentina had a golden chance to double their lead with a spot kick taken by... who else?
Messi, who is
Messi.
heading into this World Cup, still at the top of his powers, but at 35 years old, which could mean this is the last shot he will ever have of trying to win the trophy he's been looking for. Basically, from the very first moment he put an Argentina shirt on.
Go! Let's go.
2-0 up with a goal and an incredible assist from Messi, Argentina were on their way to the semi-finals of a World Cup in fairy tale fashion. And so swept up by the sun and the songs, the jumping and the jubilation, the hugs and the kisses. With only 10 minutes left, it truly felt like we had touched down on the happiest place on earth.
Some pretty
However,
women out there, huh?
little did we know what was to come.
What? Wait, what is it? I thought they were up 2-0. Oh, it's 2-1, 2-1. Oh, man. They scored.
Even though
Wait,
they
what?
still had a 1-goal lead.
Oh, he is shaking.
And with the referee adding 10 minutes of additional time,
Oh,
that climate
wow.
of confident ecstasy had evaporated.
Argentina have given away a free kick. On the edge of the box, this will be the last kick of the game. After 10 minutes of extra time, after 100 minutes of football, you've got to be kidding me.
He's all in, too.
This country can only do stressful. I don't know how many times I keep saying it, but I'll let them do it. Let them do it.
Oh, my God.
All of a sudden, the happiest place on earth had become anything but. And if you thought regular time was
Wow.
emotional,
Okay, I was wondering about that because I know during the season you can end in the tie, but I was thinking you can't end in the tie in here. Extra time. Okay, oh my goodness, dude. How unfortunate is that? Up 2-0, you got the world in your hands, and then it just comes crumbling down. Oh, wow. Oh, man. They're going to penalties. Oh. I want to see the action, dude.
2-0 up with 10 minutes.
Oh.
10 clear chances in extra time,
Wow.
but it's going to penalties. It's 50-50 for Argentina prevail. It's 50-50. Football gods shine on this very football religious country. It's 50-50. Now or never.
Ooh. Yes, let us see it. Oh! Also, Netherlands missed one. Messi scores one.
Despite being only 2 penalties into the shootout, the extreme passion and emotional attachment Argentina places on this game was already on full display.
Man, even the
and
kids.
then came the next Dutch penalty.
Oh, they blocked 2 of them. Dude, that's like a guaranteed win at that point, right? Oh, that goalie has to be man of the match. Yeah, there's no way they can lose that. Oh no! And they missed it. Oh shit.
And so, after a match that had
It
given
comes
us just
down
about
to the
everything,
last
Argentina
penalty
was just
shot.
one Lautaro Martinez penalty away from the semi-finals.
Oh, you had to know they're gonna win, right? I mean, you guys do obviously, but like for me, it's like, there's part 4.
Finally, after a 2.5-hour emotional roller coaster ride that only this country in this game could go through, Argentina had snuck into the semi-final. And whilst there were cries of happiness, hugs of relief, and jumping for joy, there were also tears, where it was evident the emotional toll of supporting this team in this tournament was becoming overbearing for some, especially knowing there were still 2 more matches that have to overcome to finally achieve their World
going
Cup
through
dream
all that,
for the first
still
time
2
in nearly
more.
40 years. And so as some hung around to hear the words of
Messi.
the man of the match,
Oh,
we
Messi
left
got
the
man of the
fan
match.
zone as that
I guess. I mean, I didn't see the match, so I mean, he got him to penalties. I guess I don't know, but I mean, that goalie had to have been up there for man of the match, blocking the first 2.
37-degree heat wave turned into something completely different and came across local juice vendor Chino, who in a sign of the dire economic times of the country wasn't able to leave his juice stand to watch the game, instead listening to it outside the fan zone on his radio.
Te decía, estaba con una señora mayor acá y cuando escuchamos el gol los dos nos abrazamos con esa viejita y gritamos los dos y digo, si se hace otro gol más te como la boca.
I'll eat your mouth. What?
And so as we headed out to the Obelisco, where we'd
What
been
is
told,
that?
despite the monsoon-like rain conditions, thousands had already gathered for the traditional post-win celebrations, it was Chino's poetic words on what this all meant that made sense of it all.
No se trata ni de Messi,
Not about
ni de
Messi or any other
Se
player.
trata de la esperanza,
It's about hope.
se trata de la esperanza de la gente.
Hope of the people.
Hace media hora estábamos todos así.
Half hour ago, we're all like this suffering.
Y en un segundo,
And in 1 second, 1
se
second,
abrió la puerta de felicidad,
door of happiness
donde todo el
opened,
mundo le importa un
where no
carajo
one
todo,
gives a
o
damn
nada.
about anything or nothing.
Te saca de un lugar.
It takes you out of one place and puts you into another
Es
one.
como que una
It's
puerta
like a dimensional doorway.
The next morning
December
came with a
10th.
combination of jet lag, wet clothes, and a hangover, but mostly a sense of disbelief into what we had just experienced only 24 hours into our time in Argentina. So to start the day, I headed to meet Santi again, who wore the exact same shirt and insisted we met and did the interview in the exact same place, all for one very Argentine phenomenon.
I mean, it's the Kabbalah.
Oh, the Kabbalah. Okay, I keep hearing about the Kabbalah.
It's a belief that if you when you
Superstition,
did something and it worked out, you want to repeat that thing so that.
Yeah, I'm sure every, culture has that same thing, superstition. Players that won't change their socks or, things like that. Your superstition of you do the same thing over and over again, and then you'll get the same result of the winning.
That it might yield the same result, I mean, look at me, for example. I mean, I need a shave, I need a haircut, and I don't want to do any of those things because, well, not getting shaved and not getting haircuts, Argentina has reached this far into this World Cup.
But Santi wasn't the only one affected by the World Cup Kabbalah.
Vas con las mismas zapatillas.
I wear the same shoes, wake up at the same time.
No la lavo hace un mes.
I haven't washed my shirt in a month. We did the exact same place, we did the exact same things on match days.
Juega Argentina y hicimos una picada.
No usamos camiseta porque
we
la
don't wear a
Copa
jersey because the
América
Copa
que gana
America
Argentina
that we
no
won.
usamos.
Y
We
se
also didn't
repite
wear
la
shirts.
comida mientras gana el equipo.
Use the same chairs in the same order and we eat the same before every match.
Tratás de hacer todo lo mismo
The same thing you did on the day you won,
que
yeah.
hiciste el día que ganaste.
From their superstitious behavior to painting their futsal arenas like the Sistine Chapel, it was dawning on me that the Argentinian passion for football genuinely bordered on religious fervor.
Está reflejado en Maradona, que le pasa a Messi la creación del fútbol.
But this was only the tip of the iceberg I discovered when it came to Argentine passion for all things football. From Ezequiel Sorani, the founder of Futbolitas, a creative art studio dedicated to the game,
it's not a sport, it goes way beyond. It's a cultural phenomenon that affects different lives in different ways.
to the unofficial museum of El Grafico, built into a tin shed in the countryside, that's dedicated to
Wow.
preserving the memory of the country's
That
most
is so
adored
cool.
football publication, to Carlos Ruiz, a man who turned his passion for sportswear into a world-famous store visited by some of the biggest names in the world. And whether their passion was expressed through footwear or photography, when chatting to them about football, there was one subject in particular that was getting them most excited.
We have the best player in the world.
Messi en este momento está despertando.
Messi right now is
World Cup,
waking
my
up.
friend. Players usually play 3 at the most.
And
Damn,
whilst,
he's
yes,
played
they were
5.
gushing about his on-pitch performance, it was what Messi did off the pitch against one Dutch player that had Argentinians most enamored.
Poco caliente por el final. ¿Qué mira, bobo? ¿Qué mira, bobo? Anda para allá, bobo.
Get lost, dummy. Get lost, dummy.
No one ever thought Messi could do that.
It's another Messi. He's older, he's wiser, he doesn't take.
So now I know what Bobo is. I've heard that somewhere else. I think it might have been in my comments, to be honest with you.
Anda para allá. Tranquilo, Leo.
No one ever thought Messi could do that.
It's another Messi. He's older, he's wiser, he doesn't take shit from people.
We've seen him lash out, we've seen him complain, we've seen him, be aggressive. But to be like straight looking at someone, looking at an opponent, telling them, what are you looking at? Get out of here, get out of here.
Just like in '86, Argentina once again had a leader who wasn't afraid to express how he felt. And within hours, they were celebrating it in every way they could.
So I know K Mierda is like what you're looking at, right? Or what is Bobo? Oh, dummy. That's what I thought. Yeah. I think people have called me Bobos in the comments. I ain't gonna lie. I swear I've seen it in there. I'm gonna use that now.
This is the World Cup legacy in Argentina. Messi says one line, within days, it's on shirts, hats, mugs.
How did he get this shirt made so quickly? On Friday when the match was finished, maybe 20 minutes after, there were cups and t-shirts already on sale.
This is the power of this tournament, this sport, this player. And if they win it, I bet you it all sells out.
Day by day, we were watching Argentina's World Cup hysteria grow in more weird and wondrous ways.
Even
Was that a
chicken
cup?
nuggets have been World Cupified.
World Cup chicken nuggets.
Every single radio station, every single one is playing World Cup.
Parecía que lo tenía resuelto, lo tuvo que resolver con los penales. Ahora, los últimos 15 minutos del alargue. Lo mismo realiza el profe Luis Martín. Los jugadores juegan a mucha intensidad.
Tarjetas en un partido mundialista. Lo cual podría hablar de un partido donde hubo 4 muertos. La realidad es que no era un partido para que se batiera ese récord y mostró el descontrol que tenía.
But perhaps the reason the World
Oh man, so I'm sure nobody did it there, especially for this, but there'll be stuff like Super Bowls or certain games that people will be like, I don't want to hear the score or anything because I want to watch it live, or I want to watch it, I got it recording at home or something. There ain't no shot, especially for this World Cup.
World Cup was such a talking point was because the other Argentine topic of discussion was so depressing.
So inflation, for example, it's a huge issue in Argentina.
¿Es posible del argentino intermedio, medio de su condición social,
About for middle class Argentines have savings. Only 9.6% of Argentines could save. Inflation avalanche.
It's a really good indication of the inflation here in Argentina. We keep seeing signs like this, missing numbers, because, well, when the price keeps changing that quickly, there's no point just changing it from, I don't know, something like 1,200 today to 2,000 next month, maybe 2,500 the week after, who knows.
They can't buy houses, they can't buy cars, they can't actually make investments.
Because the money just becomes worth less and less every day.
Exactly, it's burning in the pockets.
Damn.
And so as each day went by, we came across demonstration after demonstration after demonstration, all focused on the same subject.
Nos ofrecieron índices que están por debajo de la
Indexes that are below inflation.
Nosotros hemos rechazado.
We turned them down and we've launched an ongoing strike
que se está haciendo en
that we are all doing across Argentina.
Yet even amongst the protests, Diego was present.
Wow.
And even in the economic nadir the country had found itself in, reports coming out of Qatar were that no country had taken as many fans to the tournament as Argentina. And with the country now in the semi-finals, somehow even more supporters were flying out to Doha.
Wow.
So of course we headed to the airport to meet them. From the young and spontaneous,
we won against Netherlands, so let's
to
go.
the old
We're
and sentimental,
yeah, he's 60 years old. It'll be my
to
last
the
chance to
just
see
plain
Messi.
crazy.
We sold our car to go to Qatar.
For an Argentinian to go to the World Cup, it's not pleasure, it's business.
You sold your car.
Wow.
So dad sold his car.
Wow. You go there to achieve an objective.
Oh my God, I got so many mixed feelings about that. That is freaking awesome, but also heartbreaking. I mean, he's there with his son. And so, I mean, ultimately, I think it's, as long as it doesn't affect his work, you know what I mean, to make money later. But I mean, still, him taking his son, I'm assuming, to go and see this and the way it turns out, I'm assuming as well, that's a lifetime bond that those guys would have that you can't put a price on.
So dad sold his car.
Wow. You go there to achieve an objective.
Wow.
Not to have fun.
Thing is, we're all crazy. We want to encourage our country. With an act
Another
of
match day had come
emotion.
round, and with it, another scorcher. This time, with the temperature predicted to hit nearly 40 degrees.
Damn,
But
that
a
guy's got that
heatwave
big
was
ass
no
hat on.
match for Argentinians in a World Cup semi-final. And so with the crowd at the Buenos Aires
Man,
fan
they need
zone
somebody with a
expected to be
hose
double
just
the
spraying
last match,
mist
we
over
sent
everybody.
one camera in early to find a space, whilst we sent another to roam the streets of Buenos Aires and capture the almost paralyzing effect this tournament had on nearly every corner of the capital. As for me, well, since this was a story about Argentina, not just Buenos Aires, I decided to try something a little different. Heading out of the capital and across the country to see just what the rest of Argentina looks and feels like on a World Cup match day. And what I found was arguably a more intense sentiment than even in the capital.
If we don't win now, that's it. This is our last one. This last one. That's why, because Messi, as well, because he deserves it. The world has to gift him the World Cup because it's unique. Because we're good and we have players to win this. Basically, it's now or never.
And just like the emotional toll the tournament was having on those in the city,
I don't want to watch because you get too nervous. I have to take it easy, very easy, because the last game I almost died. Oh my God, I get anxious, so I try not to watch.
And despite
do a little
being
bit of work.
in the middle
Oh my
of a
goodness.
Tuesday, every town, every village, and everyone was focused on one thing in particular.
Y Argentina camina de tal manera que ya está en la semifinal de la Copa del Mundo de Qatar. Es una locura la República Argentina, me cuentan Fernando García. Con el ritmo acelerado, para
everybody's rushing to get things done and get back home.
ocupaciones del día, la gente, la mayoría, te diría hasta ahora, todos con la camiseta argentina.
And so as
Dude, that's so crazy. I mean, I'm seeing all these people, and I don't know how it is money-wise there. And then I know they're economically that the country was not doing well at this time. I don't know how it's doing. I hope it's doing a lot better now. But everybody has these jerseys. I'm seeing them cruising around here. She's got that jersey. I went on to look for a jersey because I wanted to get one of Minnesota United, and I would ultimately love to start collecting jerseys. I don't know why all of a sudden. I mean, this documentary is really pushing me a lot more into football. I'm learning so goddamn much, and it's starting to take hold a little bit. And I would like to collect some of these jerseys, but the prices of jerseys right now, if I go try to buy a Minnesota United jersey, it's like almost $200 freaking dollars for a football jersey, and it's way too much. So hopefully I'll get one soon. But I mean, the amount of people, everybody having jerseys and all this stuff, it just says so much.
And so as kickoff approached, we jumped back on the highway and headed to the city known as the cradle of football.
I'm from Buenos Aires. When you have to look at how they feel football in Rosario, I mean, they are crazy about football in there, I have to admit it.
Rosario breeds football like no other city in Argentina, for sure.
In Rosario, probably they take football way too seriously, way too heavily.
How can you say way too serious, way too heavily? And everything you've already said and stuff, how can they go any further?
In Rosario, probably they take football way too seriously, way too heavily. It gets crazy in there as well.
Firstly, it's the two clubs of Rosario. From the moment you enter Rosario, you understand the passion, how deep it goes. The colors are everywhere. Into every wall, every corner, every lamp post. It's all about the red and black of Newell's or the blue and yellow of Rosario Central. A level of division, a level of hate.
Wow. In one city?
It goes to a level that is difficult to understand.
Okay. There's way too much intensity.
But maybe that's what created Messi.
You see, it was in this cradle of
That's
football
where he's from, right?
That Messi was born, raised, and began his football in Odyssey.
Messi's first club was Grandoli, a small football club in the south of Rosario.
And so, with Messi's Rosarino football journey starting at Grandoli, so did ours.
What, can we go in? ¿Nervioso por el partido?
Nervous for the game? She's not nervous, they're gonna win.
¿Por qué?
Of course.
Argentina gana, Messi empezó
Because Argentina, Messi started
y
here.
acá trabajo yo.
And this is where I work.
Like, it all started here.
Wow.
At Grandoli, on that pitch where he did the same magic he's performing from 5 years old here to 35 now. But to sit here in this kind of birthplace of what could be the greatest player of all time, what could almost certainly be if he wins this tournament in less than a week. I don't know, it's magic. I could stay here all day and soak it up, but we got kickoff against Croatia in about 15 minutes. I've been invited to a party.
That party was being hosted by Farid, a talented Rosarino photographer I'd seen online, whose photos in Rosario's World Cup celebrations had inspired me to come to the city in the first place. And so as the streets of Buenos Aires emptied and its bars, restaurants and fan zones filled to capacity, we made it to Farid's just in time to strap ourselves in for another ride on the emotional roller coaster that is supporting Argentina at the World Cup.
Kickoff.
And from the first minute in, it was a bumpy ride. It threw some Argentine hands in the air and other Argentine hands on heads. It threw some of us forward, it threw some of us back. But whoever you were, wherever you were, no one was immune from the emotional toll. Some tried coping with nicotine, others with alcohol. Some even tried coping with black magic. And then... And so that emotional roller coaster had come to a screeching halt, where the result of Messi's next kick would determine where we go next. 12 yards, one kick, 46 million people, a 36-year wait. Messi had put Argentina in the lead of a World Cup semi-final, and the fairy tale was back on track. And whilst I could try and explain what it felt like, the faces amongst the celebrations tell it best. And before the tears of joy could even dry, the kids in the air could even land, and the kisses could even be delivered. Once again, the faces told the story. And 2-0 up and now dominating, Argentina had a foot firmly in the door of the World Cup final. And with the post-goal ecstasy contagious and halftime called, the stress and suffering endured in that first half hour had been replaced with smiles, celebrations,
yeah, but they've been up 2-0 before,
and then singing in the sunshine at Argentina's first ever summertime World Cup. So, as the second half approached, and I prepared for what I thought would be a celebratory 45 minutes, I found myself for a rude surprise.
Oh no.
As the moment the second half kicked off, the mood instantly changed.
Something I noticed throughout the World Cup is that even the way the Argentines cheer on the team, it feels like they're suffering, they're leaving, their bodies behind. You have to be mentally drained. They have to, be at the top of intensity because they are suffering. So that's how we live football. We live football through hardship. We live football through excruciating pain,
And whether it was the Argentine style of suffering as support, or the fact that 2-0 was the same scoreline they had before they imploded against the Dutch, no one in the fan zone, no one in the cafes, and certainly no one in Rosario seemed to remember the happiness of halftime. Until...
They score again.
Messi picked up a ball near the halfway line. And he ran with it. And he ran with it. And he ran with it some more. Until he had the ball at the byline. And whilst he didn't pass it to Molina, he did pass it to Alvarez.
Dang.
And that's when Argentina finally let their guard down. No longer was anyone worried about the game. In fact, no one was even watching it. And so, as the Buenos Aires fan zone turned into a giant dance floor, the streets of the capital refilled with people heading to the Obelisco, and our watch party turned into a rave, I went outside to get my head around the story that was unfolding.
Take a step outside on the balcony because as fun as it is in there, it's a bit overwhelming, to be honest. I came up with the idea of telling this story over a year ago. When I realized it was going to be Argentina's first Summer World Cup, when I realized it was their first intimate on a pass, and he was looking down on them for this tournament. And when I realized this really was Messi's last tournament, he said it surely was, and he's played like it surely was. He's just created an assist so glorious, so beautiful, it will go down in the history of this tournament. And now this country, to actually try and fathom what happens with this country, it's a bit, I don't know what happens now in the next 5 days, to be honest. What happens now, Argentina? How do you prepare for this? How do you enjoy this? And if you win this, how do you celebrate this?
We are in for something special now.
I'm telling you, you thought it was crazy now. I feel like we haven't seen anything yet.
And so we hit the streets to see how Rosarinos celebrate the World Cup. Where whether on the back of a bike, back of a truck, back of the bus, or even at the front of it, there was only one place you were heading, the city's own version of the Obelisco gathering, where tens of thousands had congregated, many climbing any vantage point possible to show what it meant.
Damn!
Meanwhile at the Obelisco, it had gone to another level, with bikes, barbecues, and brass bands.
That's what I'm talking about.
And so, as the celebrations continued deep into the night and morning, what was most notable to me were the number of young kids out way past their bedtime, partying alongside their parents, who evidently wanted their kids to experience the same Argentine euphoria they were able to enjoy 3 decades earlier. And so, as the drinks ran out and we headed back to the capital, all I could think was, how does this get any bigger?
Wow. Man. So I'm wondering, did I miss something? They're not explaining in the beginning of the last episode. They're talking about a fight, and maybe that was they're not gonna show it. I don't know. It's just weird, but holy crap, this is amazing. I am going to watch and record the next episode already. I got to keep going. But I'm going to post it the next day. So we'll put this one up tomorrow, and then we'll have the episode 4. But I'm going to watch it back to back because I got to see this, man. This is amazing. I'm loving this. If you guys are liking this content, make sure you like the video. I appreciate it. And you guys, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.